Good night, everybody here. It's Meg from the iMoot team here. Just want to introduce Miriam Laidlaw, our speaker for the next session. Miriam works for HRDNZ, the New Zealand Moodle partner. There's plenty of experience with Moodle, and it's going to talk to us today about Sloodle. And I dare everyone to put those two in the same sentence and say them 5 times fast and get it right. All right, over to you, Miriam.
Hi everybody, thanks Meg for that introduction. This is the second session on Sloodle. You can probably see the first session in the recording. And one of the things is that because of spammers, I am not able to get you guys to sign up to my website and join in, unfortunately, so we'll just have to watch. Anyway, my name is Miriam. I am here to talk about Sloodle and Moodle and virtual worlds. And I work for HRDNZ, as Meg pointed out, Moodle partner in New Zealand. I also work part-time for Unitec New Zealand, or Unitec Institute of Technology, I should say. One of their academic advisors with a specialty in e-learning. So that's me. I come from a primary teaching background originally, and was snapped up by Stuart in 2009 to do Moodle stuff. Right, so I'm going to jump right on in with what is Second Life. So if you're not familiar with what Second Life is already, then it's a 3D virtual world that is completely user created. So everything that you see when you go into Second Life login is created by the people who are just like you. They're users of Second Life. So there's not really any or very little sort of company created content in there. Island and maps. And all the avatars, all the other people that you see wandering around in there, they're all people like you who are in there chatting to each other. It's like a great big chat room. It differs from other sort of 3D worlds like games and things like World of Warcraft and things like that, in that there's not really any objective to the game. It's really just a social, chatty, sort of building things environment. It's very creative. Oh, and on the slide was a link to the Second Life website, the one that I've just moved away from. So, what is Sloodle? Sloodle stands for Simulation Linked Object Oriented Dynamic Learning Environment. Obviously takes its name partly from Moodle and partly from Second Life, SL as it's otherwise referred to as. And what it is a bridge between objects, virtual 3D objects in Second Life, and activities and resources in Moodle. So Sloodle is the thing that connects those two together and allows your avatar in Second Life to actually interact with things on the Moodle course page, which is quite neat. And there's a link to the Sloodle website up the top there, but those links are also on the course page that you entered this presentation from. I don't have a slide for what is Moodle because I figure that people who are here are pretty clued up on what Moodle is and what it's all about. So I'm going to dive in. Ignore that first instruction that says make sure you have an account at Moodle there. You can't sign up there. I've had to lock that down. But if you do have a Second Life account and you do want to join me in Second Life or join my avatar in Second Life, you are welcome to. I won't guarantee that you'll be able to interact with any of the objects, but you'll at least be able to see them. But I'm going to screen share anyway, so you'll be able to see everything from my point of view. And then that last link is actually the SLURL, or the SL URL, which takes you directly to the place where I'm going to be going. I'm going to turn my webcam off, and I'm going to turn the screen sharing on. I am already going. Thanks. Sorry, that was my husband. Okay. So you should see Twitter fall there at the moment. Hopefully. And the course. So underneath other useful links is the area that we're going to be going to, the Sloodle area in Second Life. This here, which I'm going to need to log out of because otherwise it's going to cause some issues. This here is the website that I am using for testing. It's just a Moodle 2.4 site, and on here I have set up a Sloodle course with the various Sloodle objects, which I will actually show you first during this session rather than last, which is what I did during the last session. So I've just logged in as a teacher on the site and gone to the Sloodle course, and this is all that's in there. It's really bare bones basic at the moment, but I've installed the Sloodle module, which can be downloaded from the, I'll wait for that to show up on your guys' screen, from the Sloodle website at sloodle.org. You can download everything you need from there, and it's just installed on your Moodle site like any other plugin. So I installed that, and in my course I have a controller, which is the thing that the Sloodle objects in Second Life need to talk to. And I have some various other bits and pieces that will become obvious when I show you Second Life. I'm ready to log in. So what I'm doing is I'm logging into Second Life right now under one of my avatar's names, Miriam Laidlaw. That's the avatar that I tend to use for my teacher things. Thank you, that was a question there. What version of Moodle is required? You can get Sloodle for Moodle 1.9, and then you can also get Sloodle for 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. I think testing is underway in 2.5, but pretty much any version of Moodle, is now supported in Sloodle. Okay. This here, well, it's dark. I have control over my sun in Second Life, so I'm going to make it midday so that we can actually see what we're doing and where we're going. That's better. And as you can see, when your screen catches up, I am at the home of Sloodle within Second Life. So this is where you can come to get the in-world objects, the actual 3D objects that you need to run Sloodle. And if I go up into this little hut over here and turn right, I can see two different things in front of me. So the one on the right, screens take a while to catch up. The one on the right is the Moodle 1.9 objects, so the objects in Second Life that interact only with Moodle 1.9, and that's called Sloodle 1.2. Now, the objects that I'm going to be using today are actually the ones on under the red banner over here, the beta objects, because they're the only ones that will run with Moodle 2 point anything, but they also run with Moodle 1.9, and they're also a lot easier to set up than the old objects. They've been completely rewritten. So underneath here, these two objects that you can see, they're called vending machines. And these are actually Sloodle objects themselves. So they're linked to a Moodle site somewhere in a Moodle course. And they allow me to click and receive objects from the vending machine straight into my inventory. So this only has one object in it, so it's only got one button. And when I click that, I get another dialog that says the Sloodle data vending machine has given you this object, and I can choose to keep it, discard it, or block owner. Well, I don't want to block owner, and I don't necessarily want to keep it because I already have one of these. So I'm just going to discard it. But if I had kept it, it would have just been put into my inventory. And really, that's all that's required in the Second Life end to receive the objects. So I'm going to walk back outside and come over here because I know for a fact that in this area I'm allowed to res objects, and that means I'm allowed to put things down on the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my, gosh, I'm sorry, I think my my connection's struggling a bit with this. I'm going to open up my inventory. I'm going to open up the folder where I know that in fact I'm just going to delete a couple of things, where I know my Reza is living, and I'm just going to drag that onto the ground in front of me. And this here is the Sloodle Reza, and basically all the little bits and bobs that are required for running Sloodle in Second Life are all inside this. And if you click on the front of it, it opens up and powers up. You can't hear the you can't hear the sounds, but it makes quite a cool noise. And if I click on the screen, it actually zooms me straight into the screen. So it's asking me for the URL of my Moodle site. So I have to type in the full URL, spelled correctly, preferably. And once I've done that, I can click submit. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to go away to the Moodle site. It should bring me back. Yep, good. It should bring me back a login screen, which is tiny, but you can still use it. And I need to log in as a teacher because I need to be able to put these objects in Second Life. So once I log in as a teacher, what it does is it goes away to the Moodle site. It looks for any Second Life controllers, not Second Life, Sloodle controllers in any courses that you're a teacher of, and gives you a list of those controllers. Now there's only one on the site, so that's all it's given me. And when I click on that, it shows me any scenes that have been set up, and you'll see what a scene is in a minute. And I'm going to just go to scene 1. And so this is what it looks like at the moment. It gives me a list of there's different sections: communications, assignments, and inventory, quizzes and activities, registration and enrollment, and other. There's not actually anything under other at the moment. Even if you go to add objects, there's nothing there. But just in case they add something, I guess. So I've pre-set up this scene with a few different things, as you can see listed here, and here, and here. And in order to res them, so in order to make them show up, I click the Res All button. And then I'm going to zoom out so that you can see the magic that's happening. Oh gosh. So all these objects are have placed themselves where I left them, basically. So I previously came and resed these objects, moved them around so that they're in the right place, and then saved their locations so that I have a little portable classroom. And the great thing about this is that their locations, and I'll show you how to do that later, are actually saved in relation to where that reser is. So I can actually pack them all up again, pick up the reser, put it down somewhere completely different, and say res all, and all these objects will show up exactly where they are in front of the reser. So it's quite neat. It makes the classroom very portable. So I'm just going to go around and explain what each of these objects does. Then I will log in as a student. Then I will log in as a student and one who hasn't demonstrated this before yet, and do everything. And then I will show you how I actually set this up. So that's what's coming. This is the registration enrollment booth, and it's basically the first thing that your students' avatars need to click on in order to link their avatar with their Moodle account, because nothing can happen between the two until Moodle knows which avatar it belongs to who, and the Sloodle objects in Second Life know which Moodle account belongs to the avatar that's clicking on things right now. So this is the first port of call because it connects the two together. Once the two are connected, as Miriam Laidlaw is already connected to a Second Life account, they can start interacting with different objects in Second Life. I'm gonna back my avatar off a little bit and zoom in, but you don't see her in the way. Oh, excuse me, my mouse is being a bit silly. So this object here that I've just zoomed into is the choice activity. So hopefully we all know what a choice activity is in Moodle, and so this is what it looks like in Second Life. The question is, how well do you know Second Life? And there are possible answers listed and color-coded down the side here, and some little bars down the bottom here. So if I think, okay, well, I come here a bit, it might be my answer. I think Miriam's previous answer was I live on Second Life. So when I click on the little yellow one, I want you to watch what the yellow and the pink do. Okay. I changed my answer to the I come here a bit from I live in Second Life, and the choice activity has been updated accordingly. So there are some settings that need to be observed on the Moodle side. So things like, in order for me to do that, I needed to make sure that students could update their choice, and that the results were always visible to students, because if you make the results not visible to students, then the Second Life object can't show them to students either. So there's little tips and tricks like that, but they're all outlined on the Second Life, on the Sloodle website. The humongous thing that you see looming over me is the scoreboard, and it shows the results from the quiz chair, which I will show you in a minute, but I just wanted to let you know what this thing was that was looming over my avatar. But this thing down the bottom here, this is the I quite like demonstrating this because it's really, really simple. This is a chat logger. So this tiny little box here is actually directly linked to the chat activity on the Moodle site. And what that means is that my Second Life avatars, or whoever's in here, can click on this, and because I'm the teacher, I have the ability to activate the web intercom. So yes, I want to activate it. And once I activate it, it automatically starts recording me. So you can see above the web intercom, it now says recording Miriam Laidlaw, and the picture on the outside of the web intercom has changed to this is a chat logger and it's currently on. Now, what this means, I go back to second, I'm getting my words all mixed up, and I go back to Moodle, and I find the chat activity, which is here, Sloodling and chat. If I click on that and click to enter the chat now, I probably should have logged on as a different user, but that's all right. I can see that's actually my Moodle account, not my Sloodle account, Miriam Law, as opposed to Miriam Laidlaw. I can write stuff in here, and it looks like I'm by myself, right? There's not going to be a lot going on if I'm talking to myself. But if I jump back to Second Life here, you'll see that in my little chat, my little local chat, which I'm actually going to open up as a window so that it's a bit more permanently there, I can see that Miriam Law has entered, and Miriam Law has written, "Hello, how are you?" Hang on, I wrote that in Moodle. So I'm going to say, "Hi, Miriam, I'm talking to myself, aren't I?" And that comes up like normal chat does in Second Life, but it also comes up inside the Moodle chat room. So in this way, you can have students who perhaps can't join you in Second Life can still be part of the chat by getting the avatars in Second Life to all log themselves onto the little chat logger, and getting your students who can't join you in Second Life to log on to the chat room in Moodle, and you guys can all still have a discussion together, a text discussion, but a discussion nonetheless. I'm going to close out of there and turn this off as well. There are some limitations in Second Life to that chat logger that are limitations that are built into Second Life. So there is usually a 20-meter local chat limit to how far you can hear things, and you can't see me doing the ear speech mark thingies, but they're there. So if you're 20 meters or more, excuse me, you're 20 meters or more away from another avatar, you can't actually see what they're typing into local chat. And the same applies to this little chat logger. If the avatars wander away 20 meters or more away from this little chat logger box, then their chat will no longer be logged into the Moodle chat room. Okay, this over here, we've had a little bit of experience with this already. It's the Sloodling vending machine. We've seen how it works with the giving me the Sloodle Reser. At the moment, one of the things that I have noticed is that the vending machine doesn't hold on to objects when it's been put away and then put back out again. So I have to just quickly dump some objects back into here. So I'm just editing the vending machine at the moment, and I'm just going to drop some objects into the content tab. They need to be specifically objects that can be transferred. So I can't drag over any of these no transfer objects or the no copy objects. They have to be objects that are free of permission restrictions. Okay, so when I close that, I've dragged 3 objects into the vending machine now. So when I click on it, you'll see that it now comes up with a list of the objects that are in there, and I can click 1, 2, or 3 depending on which object I want. So if I click 3 and then click keep, so many pop-ups. If I go to my inventory and go to recent, I'll wait for that to catch up, I should see the red rug show up in my inventory. There we go. This little thing here is this little toolbar. It can be quite neat because it's a way of getting your students to interact in a way that's familiar to them in a real classroom in Second Life. And I'll show you by going somewhere where there's not too much distracting stuff behind me. Turning around, excuse me, while I get my camera in position. All right. So I just got given a Sloodle toolbar, which is also in my recent items. And when I right click on that and click where, you can see a new thing shows up on my screen. This is called your heads up display. I'm going to turn my animation overrider off so that this thing can animate my avatar instead. And there are various different classroom related gestures in here, like holding up one's hand. That takes an awful long time. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Okay. And I can click it again to put my hand back down again. Or waving. Right. And there are various other gestures, and I won't go through them all, but there's clapping hands and nodding off, so your students can indicate whether they're bored by a lecture by making their avatars nod off. There's nodding and shaking your head and looking confused and all that sort of stuff. So right, back to this. The other objects in here, I can't demonstrate so well when I'm logged in as a teacher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as a student. So I log in there and out for a moment. And excuse me, I just need to quickly jump over to my SkyDrive and look up something. Oh. Okay. So all I'm doing is I'm logging in as a different avatar right now. my avatar's not in the right place. So I'm going to jump over to this Sloodle that you can see on the screen, hopefully, eventually. There it is. And I'm going to click visit this location. And when I go back to Second Life, it has come up with a little prompt to teleport me to the correct location. So if I click teleport, I will end up at the right place. There we go. Right, so this is a avatar or student, excuse me, I'm just going to quickly duck back to here and make sure I'm not logged in. This is an avatar or a student who hasn't yet used these objects. So, first thing I said you needed to do was touch to register your avatar in Moodle. And when I do that, it comes up with a little dialog box that says, do you want to go to this page? And I click go to page. And it prompts me to log in using my Moodle account. Once I'm logged in with my Moodle account, it says, welcome, your avatar has been successfully linked to your Moodle account and you should now be able to use your Sloodle objects. So that's brilliant. That means that now in Second Life, this avatar can come along and vote in the choice activity. So she's also going to click on the blue bar. And you can see that it has changed accordingly to register her vote. Oh, hello, Ms. Moodle, whoever that is. You may not be able to do this because you can't actually sign up to my Moodle site. Sorry. I've had to disable registration on my Moodle site because I got over 220 spam accounts sign up in the last 3 days. No, okay, Flint can't turn on the chat logger. That's all right, because what I'm really here to do is demonstrate what this quiz chair looks like. So this quiz chair is linked to a quiz in Moodle. There are some limitations. The quiz can only contain multiple choice questions because that's the only question supported by the interface that you get, as you'll see. And but it can contain as many multiple choice questions as you like. This one contains 5, and this is an audience participation section of this presentation. So I expect some answers, otherwise I'll assume you've all fallen asleep. So when I sit on this quiz chair, it starts up the quiz, and the little dialog boxes up in the top right hand corner, they ask the questions. So the first question is, which Moodle module lets students submit work for marking? Assignment or chat? Go. Tell me in chat. And I'm not going to move on until somebody gives me an answer. Thank you. Assignment. And if I get the right answer, then the little light on the front of my quiz chair lights up green, and it actually raises into the air. And my next question gets given to me. Which Moodle module lets students have synchronous real-time discussions? Chat or forum? Go. Thank you. Chat. All right, once again, the little light flashes green and I get raised up a little bit. See, I'm slowly pulling away from the other two quiz chairs that are still down on the ground. A module used primarily for terms and definitions. A glossary or a forum? Thank you, a glossary. This Moodle module is a single multiple choice question that is not graded. Choice or survey? That one makes you think a little bit more. Yes, choice. Okay, and this lets students and teachers have an asynchronous discussion. Chat or forum? Forum. Okay, that was number 2, wasn't it? 2. All right, and what you'll see is that the chair has reset itself, so it's back down on the ground. It's dumped me off it, and in the chat over where my mouse is, it tells me you've completed the quiz and your final score was 5 out of 5. Now the other thing is if I turn around and look at the scoreboard, I will see that Flint Firecloak, who is this avatar, is now on the scoreboard with 50 points. Yay! And that means that she got 5 questions right because I assigned 10 points for every correct question. Oh, excuse me. No, I'm going to ignore that because I didn't manage to get it working last time. But I'll tell you what it's meant to be. There's a little box down the bottom here, which is called a tracker button. Now, what this tracker button does is if the avatar clicks on it, it gets logged as a click or a find or whatever, and you can assign points to that, and so you can have like a little scavenger hunt. You can actually disguise, because all these objects are fully modifiable. You can change the shape or the size or the color or whatever, the texture of the object, so you can actually disguise it to make it a little bit harder to find, customize it completely. And so you can have little treasure hunts around the place for orienteering or instructions, following instructions or whatever. And they can gain points. And the points that are gained can be used to get things out of the vending machine. So you can actually charge points for things out of the vending machine. So you can put some really neat object from there that, you know, you can put a car in there or something like that and say that the student needs to have 100 points before they can get that car. And so they need to go around and find different buttons and do quizzes and things like that to get points. And then once they've interacted in that way, they get a reward. They get to buy cool things from the vending machine. The last little object that I'm going to show you in this little area is this one down here, which is called the Meta Glossary. And what this does is it's linked to a glossary activity in Moodle, and I can type into the chat. It gives me the little hint up the top there. It says chat/def, then a term to search the glossary. So if I type, /def Moodle, then it goes away to the glossary and it finds me everything in the glossary that refers to Moodle. And it says the number of definitions found for Moodle 5. So it's found Moodle Docs, Moodle Exchange, Moodle Partners, Oodle Moodle, okay, and probably something somewhere else. So it's not particularly friendly in the way that it formats it, but it does mean that you can search for definitions from within Second Life in a glossary in the Moodle course. There is another really good activity that I am not able to demonstrate in my little zone because I broke it. But I can demonstrate it over here, which I may need to fly to because it's on a raised platform. And this is an assignment Dropbox. So there is a Sloodle assignment type that can be added. It is a 2.2 assignment type, so if you're adding it to a 2.3, 2.4 or newer Moodle site, you need to, if you're installing the Sloodle object assignment, you need to make sure you have the legacy assignment types enabled at the administrator level so that they can be put into the course. But basically this allows you to receive objects that the avatars, or the students I should say, have built themselves in Second Life. So you can set a task where they have to build something completely from scratch in Second Life, and then they have to drop it into this assignment Dropbox. The great thing about this Dropbox is that it's very picky about its permissions. The object does need to have been created by the person who is dropping it in, and it needs to have certain permissions on it. So I'm just going to quickly duck down here again where I'm allowed to build something, and I'm going to quickly build a sphere. And I'm going to call it, what's this avatar's name? Flint sphere. And I'm going to make sure that the permissions are completely open so the next owner can modify, copy, and transfer. Those are the only requirements, okay, those three little tick boxes down the bottom. Once those requirements have been met, I can take that object into my inventory, and I'm now going to be able to, oops, sorry, my navigation in the air leaves a little bit to be desired. I've landed in the chairs. I can now drop that into this assignment Dropbox. So when I click on the assignment Dropbox, I get a little dialog box saying, what do I want to do? Do I want to look at the assignment summary? So if I did that, I could actually see the assignment summary directly here in Second Life without having to look at it in Moodle. Or, no, I want to actually submit an assignment. So I'm going to click number 2. And the text above the little Dropbox changes to waiting for submission from Flint Firecloak. And there's some instructions in the chat that say, make your submission by control dragging one item from your inventory onto this Dropbox. Well, I'm going to go to my inventory and I'm going to find that item I just made. I'm going to hold down my control button and I'm going to drag it onto the Dropbox. And it says, the item Flint Sphere appears to be okay. Thank you, Flint Firecloak. Assignment submission successful. So the teacher can come along later, and when they click on the box, they get an extra option that actually says receive all objects that have been submitted. And so they get all the objects dumped into their inventory that have been submitted by the students. They can then come to an area like this one over here, where you're actually allowed to put things down. And they can put each object down, have a look at it, play with it, do whatever they want to do with it, and then submit their feedback via Moodle, just like they do for any other assignment. I have like 15 minutes left, which means that I'm going to quickly log out from this account again. I'm going to log back in on my teacher account, and I'm going to quickly show you how I actually created that scene and set up all those objects. Now hopefully this doesn't muck up like it did last time. Possibly having some bandwidth issues last time, but I couldn't actually get back into the screen. Hey, it is letting me back into the screen, good. Okay, so I'm going to log back in on my teacher account. Go back to the controller. Go back to the scene that it's actually out there in front of me, because I can see that they all say res next to them. And there's a little button up here that says de-res all. And when I click on that, what it actually does is completely clear the space again. Everything should de-res eventually. So everything's gone. And I'm going to create a brand new scene from scratch. So I'm going to, oops. Okay, I'm going to add a new scene. And I'm going to call this iMoot scene 2. And I'm going to create it. And I'm just going to, I need to click on the scene to go to it. And you can see that this looks a lot emptier than that first list looked, because I haven't actually added any objects to this scene. So under communications, assignments, and inventory, I'm going to add choice activity. And it asks me, which choice activity do you want to add? Well, there's only one in the course, so that's it. Add that one. And it then shows up in the list here, choice, how well do you know Second Life? But it hasn't been released yet. I'm going to add a web intercom, which is the thing that connects to the chat room. I'm just going to put everything to yes and public. All right. Under quizzes and activities, I'm going to add a quiz chair. There's only one quiz to choose from again. I'm going to say yes to play sounds. And this is where I assigned the points per question last time. I gave them 10 points per question. And add per correct question, I should point out. And the registration and roll booth, I'm going to add that one as well. So what I've done is, all I've done so far is I've put objects here, but those objects are not actually, they're not actually out here in Second Life yet, which you'll see when the screen catches up. Yes, there. Okay, so they're not actually out there yet. So I'm going to click back on the screen and I'm going to click the big tempting res all button. And I'm going to click that in a minute and hopefully zoom out quick enough so that you can see what's going on. No, it looks like you're going to miss most of the magic. Basically, what it does is it dumps all the objects right there in front of the reser, and then it's just a matter of editing them and moving them around to wherever you want them. And for now, I'm just going to be content with moving them so that they're not so they're not all piled on top of one another. I'm not going to bother with rotating them around or anything. That's just going to take too long. And the quiz chair. Oh goodness. Right. So It's a bit of a messy scene, but never mind. So the objects that I chose are now scattered around here in front of my Reser in Second Life. And if I were to de-res them now and res them again, they would res all piled up on top of each other like they were at the start. Because I haven't yet clicked this button here, which I will point out when you guys can see it, which says freeze. And what that does is it synchronizes the position of those objects. So once you've got them all positioned where you want them and rotated correctly and all that sort of stuff, you need to remember to freeze them before you de-res them. Okay, and so once they're all frozen in place, then I can just pack them all up again, and next time I unpack them, they'll be in exactly the same place they were before. What's that comment, Stuart? All right. And really, it's just a matter of then shutting the door on the Reser. I'm not even going to take it into my inventory because a copy of it's still in my inventory. I'm just going to delete it. And I can go anywhere else where I can put an object down, and I can put that Reser down and have the classroom just show up right there in front of me again. Right, I think I actually managed to get through that a bit quicker than I did last time. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I'm just going to go through my last couple of slides. I'm going to stop screen sharing. And get my video back on. Okay. So this was not really a how-to necessarily. It was a demonstration of what's possible, or some of what's possible to do with these little objects in Second Life. And if you really want to know in-depth how-to information, then go to the Second Life the Sloodle website that I linked to earlier. It's also linked to from the course page. And these two channels are great, the actual official Sloodle channel, but probably the best one is Paul Klybish's channel. He's one of the developers of the Sloodle module, and he's got some really good up-to-date videos on how to use this particular Reser, not just the old one. And then there's other places to find me. So I'm happy to answer questions and walk people through if they want to know some stuff. I'll try to answer. So you can grab me on Twitter or my email or through my WordPress site, and yeah, we also do various bits and pieces on those other sites you see listed there. But if you have any questions about anything that maybe I could answer in the last few minutes that we've got, or anything you'd like to see, I'm happy to field questions. And Stuart, you know you never comment on the girls' fate. Yes, English Village actually belongs to Sloodle, belongs to Paul Klybish, and they have the little sandbox there, so you can actually put stuff down. You don't need to own land in Second Life to try out the Sloodle objects anymore. Yay! Because they're so portable now, whereas previously they had to be set up in one place and they couldn't easily be put away and brought out again. A screen to show movies made by students. That's not one of the Sloodle objects that you can do that with, I don't think. I don't think even the presenter object is particularly well equipped to show movies, but you can create objects in Second Life that have media type surfaces on them. And you can purchase objects in Second Life that directly show videos, but yeah. OpenSim, that's a very good question actually, because I would say that a lot of larger institutes are moving to OpenSim. I know certainly that Auckland University and a few other universities around New Zealand have their own OpenSim servers because it's financially more viable to run an OpenSim server than it is to own land in Second Life nowadays. Land's really expensive, and also you have more control over who gets in there, whereas in Second Life you have no control. You can lock your land down so that only certain people can get into your land, but it doesn't stop your students from wandering off into other parts of Second Life where they're going to come across adult content. Let's face it, it's a very adult place. Whereas in OpenSim, you know, you know what's in your sim, you know what's in your world, and you can control what goes in there. Yeah, the vending machine, Larry has actually, it's been part of the Sloodle module for since it started. But it's a neat little thing. It's a great way to distribute objects. Yeah. Yes, Sloodle acts as a Natalie, sorry. Sloodle acts as a link between Second Life and OpenSim as well. All the information is on the Sloodle website under the download section. So yeah, it's because it's all based on the same build, it's all built on the same code base. They're making sure that it's all very compatible.
Okay, well I think we might wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Miriam, for that. Very interesting. It's fascinating to see the way some of those virtual worlds can be used in the classroom. You didn't think of that when you started. For anyone who's interested, Miriam's links and the slides are up on the course already. It's very, very organised. So they're there for everyone to access. Thank you very much for that, and thank you again, Miriam.
Thank you very much for being here and listening.